Alright guys, here is what we got today. St. Croix EYECON Walleye series. Okay, so back-to-back walleye rods after the Cabela's Prodigy walleye in the previous video. But this one, despite the name walleye, I promise you the blank will bend right through the middle, even with an 8-inch crappie. So this is a legitimate crappie fishing rod. Okay, so the model I have is this one right here. 7-foot, light power, fast action. Action is not very fast, as I'm gonna show you later. SC2 graphite. St. Croix makes a big deal out of the blank. Obviously it was a nice blank a few years ago. 4 to 8 pounds line and 1/16 lures. Okay, down to 1/16. So this is the one we're going to be reviewing today, and at first look it is one good looking rod. Okay, beautiful blank, beautiful colors selected for all of the text, for the background here. Good looking guides, I would say. All the guides to the top. I mean, I'm gonna talk about the guides in more detail later, but yeah, good looking guides. Overall, when you see the rod on the fishing rod rack in Cabela's, it just immediately makes impression of a good looking rod. Okay, starting from the butt, we have some high density foam material under the cork, but this is not it is like much higher. It almost feels like rubber, much higher density than the average EVA foam of all of the ugly sticks and the other EVA foam handles. And look how it's tapered here. I like when the components have detail. Like this could have been flat, just like this. Okay, I don't think this serves any specific function. It doesn't make it more beautiful, but I don't know, when I see detail in the components, just the whole item begins to look more sophisticated. Then the cork on the rod, St. Croix says premium cork. I've never seen a rod made with cork where it doesn't say premium. It looks like every single rod is made of premium. If one day I make a fishing rod, it will have cork handles, and I'm gonna try to find a regular cork, and I'm gonna put in the description made with rare regular cork. Okay, what is so premium with this cork? You tell me, does it look premium to you? Not really. It's already sealed, by the way. This is polyurethane. I have a video on how to seal the cork handles. I'm gonna put that in the description as well. But nevertheless, it has detail, the right size, the right diameter, very light, nice looking end of the rod. Then we have this very nice looking logo here that also says finesse. I mean, I love, in St. Croix everything, the selection of the font, the selection of green on green colors, everything, the designer, very stylish dude. Everything looks nice on these rods. Then the exact same very high density foam here under the reel seat. The reel seat, by the way, is Fuji, and it's a very nice reel seat because when you put the reel over here and you tighten this foam from the bottom, by the way, and you hold it like this, you're going to be holding the cork, a little bit of the foam, but you will not be touching any threads. Okay, so I love when I don't have to touch the thread on which whatever the nut is screwed on. So very nice looking handle, very nice feeling handle, good brand, Fuji. Again, some more quote-unquote premium cork here. I'll let you decide how premium it is. It came with some chips that I tried to fill with just polyurethane. But despite, you know, the premium cork, I mean, this is one very good looking handle and functionally just excellent. Remember what I told you about the extra detail, you know, at the butt of the rod? Look at this hook keeper. Does this serve any purpose? I think they just didn't want to put a regular hook keeper. You know, this is a St. Croix rod, you're paying extra money. So everything has to be a little bit different with a little bit more detail. So yeah, functionally, I don't know if this has any advantage. Not for me, for sure. But it is what it is. It does look interesting at least, alright. Then we have all of the specs written with this stylish font and background again. The whole rod doesn't have any other color other than white, dark green, and light green. That's it, okay? You're not gonna find red, you're not gonna find blue. No, the whole rod looks very natural. Okay, it does look like a, you know, fly fishing rod. I know this really pissed off one of my viewers in my previous video because I spent so much time about the looks of rods, but you know, half of the reason why I make these videos is because I enjoy it. Okay, so I can't make the reviews any other way, because then I would not enjoy it, and if I don't enjoy it, it becomes a second job, and I'm not gonna put 40 hours of video editing a month for $30 a month. Okay, so try to get in my shoes too. I have to enjoy this as well, otherwise it's not gonna happen, and that's what I enjoy. But back to the rod. The color of the blank is dark green, but it does have is this pearl. I'm trying to focus for you here. It does have pearl finish, okay, and it does have dual clear coat, okay. Again, St. Croix makes sure to tell us that this is some slow cure dual clear coat. But anyway, you can tell even from here, the rod has very nice finish. Forget about the nice color. The finish, the surface of the blank, I mean, it does look like an expensive blank, doesn't it? By the way, Mudhole is selling the blank alone for this rod for $100, okay? So no guides, no Fuji reel seat, nothing, just the blank is, even today, I mean, this is a very old rod, but even today, if you want to buy the blank alone, it costs $100. And then we have the guides, okay? The guides look nice, but normal. I mean, would you say they're something special? You wouldn't. But St. Croix says on their website that they are something special. Come on. Okay, so the guides are the right size. They are not too small. I'm happy with the size and the number of the guides. Okay, some rods put too many guides, some put too small, too big, everything. But the size is right, the number is right. And St. Croix makes a big deal about this guide, this Kaigan guide, okay, Kaigan 3D guides, new paradigm, slim and strong. Notice that it doesn't say light. Slim, you know, suggests light, but not really. They didn't say light, they just slim and strong. And it is indeed slim, look at this. And it is strong, I mean, stainless steel. But anyway, Kaigan is a very nice brand for fishing rod components. And I've actually heard it before because some of the elite carp fishing rod companies in UK use EYECON guides. Okay, so I've heard these guides, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago, and these UK companies that make the carp tackle, they will not buy components from a company with a less than perfect reputation. Like, they're not going to put a cheap Chinese guide, even if it is good, just because they want every component on their rod to have nice reputation on top of great performance. Okay, so EYECON does make good guides, and whatever 3D guide, slim and strong. It is slim and strong, but in reality this is a cheap guide. Okay, this is one of their lower end guides, because what is it? It is a stainless steel frame with aluminum Uxit insert. Okay, well, I'm gonna put some more rods on the bench in a few minutes. I mean, half of the rods that I have stainless steel frame and aluminum Uxit inserts. Okay, how is this special? I mean, every cheap rod has these guides. And yeah, they say, EYECON says that the way they press the aluminum Uxit inserts, whatever, creates the most amount of contact, so there is no probability of, not that there isn't, but there is a far smaller probability of the insert popping out. And you know, I haven't heard of St. Croix inserts popping out, but even if they did, the rod does come with 5-year warranty, so you know, I'm not really concerned about that. But I can replace it with another aluminum Uxit guide that costs, you know, you can buy these guides, maybe not the EYECON, but aluminum Uxit insert with stainless steel frame. You can buy 20 of them for $5 on Amazon. All right, that's how expensive and special these guides are. But enough about the guides. Let's compare these rods with something else in this price range. Okay, so here we have some other rods in this price range, and I have already reviewed all of these. So right on top of the St. Croix rod we have the Cabela's Prodigy that I reviewed in the previous video. And let's start with the price actually. So the St. Croix retails for $120, but I bought it from Fish USA for $50 off. So I paid only $70 for the rod. So if you're interested in the St. Croix EYECON rod, do not pay full price. First of all, it's not worth the full price. Spoiler alert. You don't have to wait till the end of the video to hear that. But even if you want to buy it, just wait for a deal, because this rod is a very, very old model. Okay, it will be discontinued soon, and that's why I think the $50 clearance price showed up on Fish USA, and I promise you that deal will come back. Okay, so look to pay around $70, maybe even lower, for the St. Croix rod. So the Cabela's Prodigy retails a little bit cheaper at full MSRP and on sale. So the full price is $100, and on sale it goes for $60. Okay, so a little bit cheaper than the St. Croix. But if I have to compare the components, every single component on the Cabela's Prodigy walleye rod is better. Okay, every single component. The cork is better, the reel seat is much fancier and much more comfortable. You can touch the blank. The blank on the Prodigy is more beautiful, even though, you know, St. Croix is already a beautiful rod, but I mean, the Cabela's Prodigy is even better. If you compare the guides, the Cabela's Prodigy has zirconium insert guides, much more expensive guides. I actually don't know how much these cost, but because they're EYECON, but you know, given the cheap materials, they cannot be expensive. So Everything on the Cabela's Prodigy rod is better than the St. Croix rod, including appearance, including price. Okay, so the only thing you can't get, the only thing is that the St. Croix Prodigy only comes in medium light. Okay, so I got the light because I'm more targeting crappie than walleye. Maybe one day I will target walleye if I move to an area that has good walleye, but for now I'm not. But anyway, yeah, every component compared to the Cabela's Prodigy, the Cabela's Prodigy wins. Okay. Then if we're talking about jigging, because my model is not a jigging model, I got the light, which is not a jigging model, but the medium light is jigging model. So you would compete against rods like the Shimano Sensi-Lite over here. Now with the Shimano Sensi-Lite, the competition, I would say, is pretty tough, and maybe the Cabela's, maybe I would even, not Cabela's, maybe the St. Croix. The St. Croix definitely looks better than the Shimano. The reel seat is nicer. The blank looks nicer. The guides are exactly the same. Okay, look on the Shimano and on the St. Croix. I mean, exactly the same guides. So if you are looking for a jigging rod, there are different, you know, powers though. The Walleye St. Croix EYECON, the light is the lightest that you can get, and this one is ultralight. But actually the power of these particular blanks is really close. Okay, they are both very soft blanks, and you will enjoy fighting the smallest panfish in your waters. Okay, then if you use it for float fishing and you paid $70, then you have to consider buying the Daiwa Presso instead. The Presso looks very different, like I said last time. It looks more like performance. Everything is super thin, and yeah, it doesn't really look natural. It looks like high performance rod, and it kinda is, because it is much lighter than the St. Croix rod and much thinner. And the components on the Daiwa Presso, frankly, are also better. Okay, look at these nuts here. Gunmetal stainless steel is my favorite finish, okay, of the metal finishes. But for $60 on the Daiwa Presso, you get genuine Minima guides from Pack Bay. Very thin and very stiff also, and very light. Okay, much lighter than stainless steel guides with aluminum oxide inserts. So as far as float fishing is concerned, the Presso has better components, and while looking different, also looks very nice. And this is a rod that I, you know, spent a few moments in the last video. Major Craft Nano Ace. Now on the Tackle Warehouse's website, it says that all of the Major Craft rods have their power ratings exaggerated. So they said consider one power higher than what you need. And this one here is actually medium power, but I kid you not, it doesn't even feel like medium light. It feels like light power. I don't know about ultralight. Maybe even ultralight. Okay, not ultralight, but from medium, it feels all the way to light. And it costs $120. And it's obviously very popular. I didn't know Major Craft is so popular. It has the exact same, okay, the finish is different. It has chrome finish, but this is still a stainless steel guide with aluminum oxide inserts. So the guides are the same. The components, whatever, the typical bass rod, not really, you know, natural looking, just blank with EVA foam, and that's it. Nice finish here. But this rod is also direct competition, I would say, if you want to jig for walleye to the St. Croix. This one, I don't know if you're gonna find a deal. These major craft rods, no deals on them. But, you know, if I have to pick between the two in terms of components, I like the look and the feel of the St. Croix components better. The blank, I'm going to talk about the blanks later. But yeah, that about the components of the St. Croix rod and how they compare against the competition. Alright guys, as always, please pay attention to which model of the rods I'm describing, because the blank action can be very different from model to model, and not just in terms of power, okay? So the rod that first grabbed my attention at the fishing shows, 2 fishing shows back to back, even though I never bought it because it's kind of expensive, was the 7-foot medium light. Okay, and the medium light, the power of the blank was a little bit more, it was correctly designated. The power was a little bit more than this one, and was a great jigging rod. Okay, even though it was soft, it was good for jigging, good for float fishing too. It has a decent amount of flex. Okay, much more than the Prodigy. But I thought, hey, they have a light as well, not just medium light. So, you know me, I always like the softer versions. So I got the light. And the light is a great rod, okay. But not only is the blank softer than the medium light, but the recovery is different, okay. The light power is no longer good for jigging because, look, it wobbles a little bit too much all the way through the middle, okay? So the recovery of the light power is a little bit slow, which is not bad, but you can no longer make these micro twitches with the tip of the rod, because if you see, as I'm twitching the tip, the rod is shaking in the middle, so I cannot really control it, okay? As a matter of fact, the amount of control of this 7-foot light power is very close to the Daiwa Presso, which is my worst rod for jigging, okay? But even the Daiwa Presso, I mean, in a pinch, you jig. What else can you do? And you catch fish too. I'm just saying that it's not the best, but it doesn't mean that you can't. But look at this. You can jig with the Daiwa Presso too. The problem is it shakes too much in the middle. So these 2 rods are very comparable in that regard, and they're both, you know, float fishing. You can float fish with this rod, you can crank. You can even bottom fish for trout on doll bait. I've seen people do that. I mean, it's an ugly way to fish with such a beautiful rod, but you could do that if you want. But it is not going to be good for jig fishing, okay? As a matter of fact, one more comparison to give you. The 7-foot light from Walmart, Shakespeare Micro series, okay? The $20 Miracle. Now this one I can control, okay? This one is much better than either of these for jigging. So yeah, just so you know, the light power, no good for jigging. If you want to get the medium light, which, you know, it's a gray area between bass and crappie, you can kind of do both. The medium light is good for jigging, okay? All right, let me do some other comparisons because the video is getting really long. Okay, in terms of action, the rod says fast action, but it's not very fast. It's maybe medium fast because the flex is not happening very close to the tip. I'll show you, okay? So I have 1 bottle of water here, so I'll show you both the action and the power of the blank. But look where the flex is happening, okay? It is not close to the tip. I would not say this is a fast action. you be the judge, but for me this is medium fast. But as far as power, I told you this is the light power is a true panfish rod. I mean, this rod is between light and ultralight actually. Look what's going on now with 1 bottle of water. Look at this, okay? 1 bottle of water, guys. You tell me if this is not a good ultralight rod, okay? All right, let's compare it to some other ultralights and see how it does. Okay, guys, here is how it compares against the Shakespeare Micro series, okay? Now, both of these rods are 7-foot light power. So that is the perfect comparison, and I have 8 ounces on both of them right now. So as you can see, because this is only 8 ounces, the St. Croix rod is significantly softer than the light power Micro series, okay? Which is already, to me, the Shakespeare Micro rods are perfectly designated, okay? The light is light, the ultralight is ultralight, and the St. Croix rod is a little bit soft for a light power. Let me show you how it compares against the Shimano and the Daiwa. Okay, so here is how it compares against the Shimano SensiLight. The Shimano SensiLight is 6'6" ultralight rod, okay? And the way I compare rods of different length is I align the tips of the rods, okay? Because the tip is what fights the fish, the tip is what casts, not the handle, okay? Some part of the handle just serves as a counterweight to the tip of the rod. But anyway, the power of these tube lengths is almost identical, okay? So you can tell that the light power St. Croix EYECON rod is an ultralight rod just as much as the SensiLight is ultralight rod, okay? So yeah, I mean, look at the curve, everything, okay? Identical power of the tube lengths. Now the Daiwa Presso is a little bit softer than these two, but I'm not going to show you the video because the video is getting way too long already, but you can check the test curves of the Daiwa Presso on my other videos because I have that reviewed as well. But yeah, despite the tube lengths being equal in power, they actually have very different performance because the Shimano SensiLight is an excellent jigging rod, okay? Very fast response rate, excellent jigging rod, while this one is not. So yeah, the power is the same, but the response, the recovery speed is not the same of the two rods. Okay, so what is the final word about this rod? First of all, let me say that I have no issues with any component of this rod, okay? Every component is either good or excellent. The appearance, this is my second most beautiful rod after the Daiwa Prodigy, okay? So components are excellent, build quality is excellent, 5-year warranty, you know, reliable vendor, you know they're gonna be around and they're gonna answer the phone when you need them. You know, you also have the reputation and the resale value. You can always sell this rod 5 years later, while try selling whatever or some other, you know, brand. So always good, except the price. The price at $120, I don't recommend this rod for anything. Not for, well, it's not good for jigging to begin with, but even for float fishing, cranking, you know, stuff that doesn't require twitching, I don't recommend it for $120 because, frankly, it doesn't have expensive components, okay? The guides are cheap, okay? They're great guides. The inserts are not gonna fall off. They're not gonna groove from braid. And they're reasonably light, but they're cheap guides. they're not too light, okay? If they were lighter, that would improve the performance of the tip of the rod. So you don't have expensive guides. I mean, the blank on paper is expensive, but the performance of the blank is old school, okay? Today's graphite rods have much faster recovery than this, okay? Today you can have, I mean, you saw the Shimano SensiLight. It is just as soft, but the recovery is much faster. So I can use the Shimano SensiLight for float fishing and jigging. This one only for float fishing, okay? So on paper, maybe the blank is expensive, but in terms of performance, the blank is nothing special either. But because this is a very old model, I mean, this rod was released, believe it or not, 8 years ago. I started seeing deals, I mean, heavy discounts on this rod, and you will see it on clearance in several places. So if you want a beautiful float fishing rod, okay, for float fishing, for cranking, for all of that stuff, I mean, if you want just an ultralight that you're not going to use for jigging. Not a lot of people jig, by the way. I see people catch crappie and whatever, perch and panfish. I rarely see somebody catch fish by jigging. People are rarely jiggers, okay? So if you want a beautiful ultralight that you're going to use for float fishing, this rod can be had right now for about $70, and probably later you will find it for 50% off. So if you tell me that this rod costs $60 or $70 with sales and whatever, maybe you can apply more than one coupon code. At this price, $60 or $70, it becomes a really strong competitor even to the Daiwa Presso, okay? Because Daiwa Presso, yeah, nicer guides, good looking, but the looks of the Daiwa Presso are not for everybody. Maybe you like more natural look, and the blanks of both rods will give you maximum pleasure when you fish for small fish. So for this purpose, then and getting it at the right price, then yeah, I do recommend it, because, well, okay, the Shimano, the Shakespeare Micro Series, I mean, look at this rod. Okay, the performance is good, the price is amazing, and it can do everything good. But holding the rod, you know, you don't enjoy holding these threads here, okay? I mean, it doesn't look nice. The guides, I mean, the cheapest guides on the market. So for those of you who can afford more than $20 for a rod, they're not gonna like holding the Shimano, the Shakespeare Micro Light series. And for them, I do recommend, I mean, come on, look at this rod. I mean, go back to the video on the bench. It is a gorgeous rod from a great company, made in America, so why not support an American company? So with all of these conditions, if you use it for the right thing and at the right price, then yes, I do recommend the rod, because it is a great rod for that purpose. Alright guys, thanks again for hanging around my channel. I do enjoy reading and replying to all my comments, okay? So it doesn't matter how silly your question is. If you have any kind of question about any of these rods, or you want me to compare something that I missed, don't hesitate to drop me a comment below, and I will get back to you. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon with the next review. Okay, bye bye.